Ladies and gentlemen, greetings and welcome to Screen Scene, the show where I will review a movie or TV show. I'm your host Zelrix and today we'll be watching The Lion King. In 1994, the world was introduced to a movie that swiped away The Little Mermaid, making it from one of the best animated flicks of all time to modest success. Rewatching the film today, it's easy to see how and why this happened. The kids back then were treated to an amazing story that didn't try to take adults for granted and treated them like they were idiots, and most importantly, the animation was gorgeous and ahead of its time. I didn't see it in theater back in the day on the count of being -4 years old when it came out. But when I was 5 or 6 years old, I saw it for the first time and still today it's one of my favorite animated movies, maybe even in my top 10 favorite movies of all time. Knowing all of that, it's easy to see how and why it was the #1 animated movie of all time in the entire world for 19 years until 2013 when Frozen swept it away. And honestly, yeah, Frozen deserved the spot. Obviously everybody knows about it, but I got a good friend who accidentally left the DVD of the movie buried somewhere in my trash can, so why not? Alright ladies and gentlemen, it's time to see if The Lion King holds up. So the movie opens on the famous scene where... Wait a second. That's not how I remember it. There's something different with the color grading and the graphics and the camera shot and god damn it, that's the 2019 shitty reboot. Okay, so obviously if we're gonna do that, we're gonna do it right, so I need to get a little history of the Disney remakes. Although the Disney's classic have been remade into live action since the mid-90s, it's only in 2010 that they really started to get a hang of it, notably with Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland, which honestly was okay. Followed Maleficent, Cinderella, The Jungle Book, etc. But there's a big difference here. These movies were older, each and every single one of them was around 60 or 50 years old at best when the reboot came out, potentially introducing the newer generation to a classic. And I've got nothing against older movies. Whenever I see Citizen Kane, I still crap myself about how good it is. But the facts are, in animation, sometimes graphics don't age that well, something that these movies clearly had as a flaw. And that's not something The Lion King has to envy to anything or anyone. So why this remake? In 2019, The Lion King wasn't even 30 years old at that point, even having an incredible Blu-ray remaster that made the movie even more beautiful and was accessible to 90s and 2000 kids. Plus, it's not like it wasn't very popular over the years, as mentioned, #1 animated movie for 19 consecutive years. So why are we here? No, honestly, why are we here? What am I doing with my life? So as mentioned, the movie opens on the classic scene where the sunrise reveals the magnificent lands of Africa, and that gives us the movie's main quality and also one of its biggest mistakes. Yes, the graphics are incredible, I still can't believe it isn't CGI. The artists have an incredible amount of talent. It's just too bad that in this live action remake, the best quality is the animation. So let's compare it to the original sunrise scene. Before the sun rises in this version, the screen was completely dark and the sun reveals the land of Africa. Here it's a normal sunrise, taking away all the power of the imagery and from the music that was so powerful. Curious artistic choices like this one were actually explained by Jon Favreau. He wanted to shoot the movie like a documentary. Okay, so not only in a documentary the animal don't talk, but Mufasa and Sarabi would have torn apart Rafiki for touching their newborn child. No animal would go to the crowning of the new heir to the throne of the lions, because lions don't have thrones, because they're stupid big cats that can't understand the basic of monarchy. So if I hadn't made it obvious enough, shooting this as a documentary is a bad idea! The Lion King is a fairy tale. A fairy tale is anchored in the suspension of disbelief and in imagination. An animal documentary is anchored in realism and in real life. So these movies don't belong together. And I like documentaries, I'm not one of these idiots that think they're lame, but I like bacon, I like chocolate, and you don't see me cooking my pork meat in Nutella at 8 in the morning. So like the original, we follow a mice that reveals our main antagonist, Scar. But instead of being quick and efficient, it's long and boring. At least you can say this scene is coherent with the rest of the film. And now we meet Scar, one of the most appreciated Disney villains of all time, if not the most appreciated. He's cold, he's dangerous, he's the perfect fusion of Hannibal Lecter and Alfred Pennyworth, animated like a snake, wearing a fur coat, and oops, never mind. So obviously, if you want this movie to work, the director had to change things. But changes need to have sense. In the original movie, Scar was cold, he was manipulating, he was smart, and it was obvious that Mufasa kept him around for one reason. Even though he was his brother, he understood that he wasn't kind of hard, but he thought that there was a part of him that was good, because Scar was just that good of a manipulator. It's been Scar all along! In this version, Scar isn't much more subtle than Doofenshmirtz when it comes to his evil plans. So either Mufasa knows how bad Scar is, in this case why hasn't he banished him yet? Or Mufasa doesn't understand how bad Scar is. In that case, he's an idiot and probably deserves to die. Then kids, it's time to learn a new word. In the original Lion King, as in many Disney movies, the animals were anthropomorphized. It means that even though I can definitely identify Simba as a lion, he has some human traits, mainly the mouth and the eyes, and that is for two reasons. First of all, it allows the filmmaker to separate some elements. These animals are characters, these animals are background elements, and these animals are jokes. Now that Mufasa has the same trait as a gazelle, I can't take out of my head the idea that they must suffer like hell when Mufasa eats them alive to assure his dominion over Africa, all in the name of his precious circle of life. Then it also allows to draw character lines. For example, I put the original Mufasa and Scar next to each other, and it's obvious that Mufasa is the good guy and Scar an antagonist. In this version, they both look like lions, so I can't root for Mufasa. I'm even gonna say that I'm tempted to root for Scar. Look at him, he just looks malnourished and weak. In this situation, I tend to root for the lion that has the less chance of tearing my face off. We get the scene where Mufasa and Scar have their confrontation and...
Big brother will always rule. Not always, Scar.
Is it possible to have worse voice actors? No disrespect for James Earl Jones, he was the original Mufasa and he was awesome at it. 25 years ago. In 25 years, a great powerful voice, it grows old. And unfortunately, the same goes for Jeremy Irons as Scar. Simba is introduced.
Dad, 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 Dad!
God, I already hate him. And Mufasa gives him the famous circle of life talk. But he also says that a true king is interested in what he can give, not what he can have. A very interesting idea, but also a bit hypocritical when you think that Mufasa basically gives nothing to the hyenas. So Simba has to go home and Scar tells him about the elephant graveyard. No. He doesn't even try to disguise it as misinformation or as if the information has slipped his lip. No, he plans out tells him that there's an elephant graveyard. God, Scar is lame. Simba tries to bring Nala into the elephant graveyard, and just like in any good animal documentary, the animal gets into this big choreographed musical number to allow the lion to ditch Zazu. Do you understand what I mean when I say that a fairy tale documentary is a shitty idea? Plus, how can Zazu lose them? Look at that, they're standing in the spotlight, they're not even hiding. Why is everyone in this movie a goddamn idiot? Next we get to the elephant graveyard, and just like in an animal documentary, the hyenas circle the two easy prey in the goal of having the generic bad guy monologue.
You do this, you will start a war with Mufasa!
She's already at war with Mufasa, you were even on patrol at the beginning of the movie. Idiot. Of course, Simba, Zazu and Nala have to flee and Mufasa intervenes, wiping out an entire pack of hyenas, and no. You want a realistic Lion King movie? Well, guess what? Mufasa is dead. A lion can't 1v10 an entire pack of hyenas. In real life, he would have been eaten. Hyenas have among the strongest jaw in the entire animal kingdom. Mufasa and Simba have their little talk about being brave and being a good king, but instead of learning his lesson, Simba acts like an arrogant, cocky brat and learn pretty much nothing. God, Simba is Caillou! Next, it's time for Scar to plan his coup d'etat with the hyenas in this awful remake of the original scene. Exit the incredible musical number where the element seems to obey Scar's will, establishing him as the biggest menace in the movie. Seriously, look at that Scar, it's just pitiful. He's not menacing, he's not intimidating. I'm sure he wanted to be eaten alive by the hyenas, delivering him from this pathetic life of his. Time to get to Mufasa's death, perhaps one of the most gruesome scenes in Walt Disney's history. Please don't mess that up, please don't mess that up, please don't mess that up. God damn it! It's pathetic, look at that, the wildebeests are barely jogging. Simba must think he's in Prometheus because if he was to roll to his left, he would be fine. You know it, and I know it. We're still far from the original chaotic swarm that traumatized an entire generation. And Mufasa's death looks like a bad parody found in the darkest part of YouTube rather than a tragic event. Obviously, Scar takes control of Pride Rock and it is then time for Simba to meet the best sidekick in Disney's history, Timon and Pumbaa.
Oh dear.
You'd think that Seth Rogen voicing Pumbaa can't be boring, but unfortunately you'd be wrong. This might be the worst part of the movie. If the animals looks like actual animal, when they talk I picture the voice actor, not the character.
Oh no, it's a little lion!
It is especially true for Seth Rogen and other actors because they're just that, actors, not voice actors. There's a big difference. I can forgive one after the other. But the mediocre voice acting plus the photorealism of the animals plus the realistic tone of the movie, you don't believe it. Like, at all.
Every time that I farted, are you gonna stop me?
No, I'm not. You disgust me.
Oh my god. A funny joke. They still exist? And it's a fart joke. This is a fart joke that's funny. It's the shiny Pokemon of Lion King humor. Why wasn't the entire film like that? The best part of the movie is Hakuna Matata, and honestly, I'm not sure whether to cry or to laugh at it. Then we get into another good idea of the movie. We actually see how and why Scar is destroying Pride Land. In the original Lion King, Scar took control of Pride Land and then the land was destroyed. No explanation. Here we understand that Scar is meddling with the laws of nature and that nature can't follow. So yes, this part is really well done. This part.
Life is meaningless.
Timon just turned into my current mental state. Intriguing. So just like in the original, Simba's fur is led to Rafiki, but unlike the original, it first goes through a pile of giraffe shit. Then Simba and Nala are reunited and they sing Can You Feel the Love Tonight? No, I can't feel the love tonight because Nala and Simba have terrible chemistry, because the voice actor can bring these animals to human level of sentience, because Beyonce doesn't have the voice that fit this song, and because if you want to feel the love tonight, don't shoot your music video in broad daylight! It's hard to talk about the songs without putting audio clip, but how is it that in a movie featuring Beyonce, Timon is still the best singer? Nala wants to go back to Pride Land, but Simba refuses to follow her and runs into Rafiki, because like any good animal documentary would portray, a mandrill can easily track a single lion using only its fur, only if the lion's fur was buried in a pile of giraffe shit. Simba talks to the ghost of Mufasa and somehow the most important part of the story is written off. Mufasa, instead of telling Simba that he forgot him by forgetting who he was, tells Simba that he is proud of him, when his behavior is the most shameful it could possibly be. There's only a finite amount of bad choices you can do while directing a movie, but at this level, this is hard. So our team, who meanwhile became the Avengers, goes to Pride Rock to defeat Scar.
Get away from my mother! Get off my mommy!
Simba finally confronts his uncle and Scar shamelessly admits to have killed Mufasa. But Sarabi heard him and stuck on one detail. Scar remembered the look on Mufasa's face, but he told Sarabi that he wasn't able to make it in time to save him. So Sarabi decided to take this little detail as a confession rather than the fact that he did confess of Mufasa's murder. Why? Why do the character of this film have the cumulated IQ of a mildly warm bottle of water? The lion and hyenas get into the final battle, and yes, this looks good. Even I'd say this looks great. This is the proof that the movie had potential, that it could have been a good movie if it wasn't shot like an animal documentary. Too bad there's less than 20 minutes to appreciate it.
Run away and never return.
Can Simba be even less intimidating? I mean, Scar looks like he has a terminal illness and even he's scarier than Simba. Simba eventually defeats Scar, and just like in any good animal documentary, the rain starts falling off the sky to extinguish the fire. So yeah, that was something. I guess that was something. There was definitely some element of reality. there, and oh my god, it sucked, okay? The original Lion King worked for a reason. It was a jewel when it comes to artistic liberty and choices. So by bringing fairy tales and documentaries in the same ring, this is swept away in an instant. And the characters are terribly written, especially Nala, who is supposed to be this strong female model. But in the end, the mightiest thing she did in the entire movie was running away. For one exception, Sarabi was awesome. She is proud, she is powerful, so why wasn't she the one leading the pack instead of Nala? It was really bad and I've wasted 2 hours of my life. I wanted to like it so much. I love The Lion King. But what about you guys? Tell me in the comments, did you appreciate this movie and what movie or TV show I should review next? Then subscribe and activate the bell to be notified when a new video comes up. Follow me on Instagram, and if you want to support the channel, you can always buy my merch in the description down below. Then share this video with all your Disney fan friends, and as always, thanks for watching.